20 years ago, Doctor Who made its biggest mistake. Back in 2005, the show returned to screens after 16 years off the air. The highly anticipated modern era of Doctor Who kicked off with the introduction of Billie Piper as companion Rose Tyler and Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, but there was a notable cast change by the end of Season 1. Since Doctor Who came back after the classic era was cancelled in 1989, a whole new generation of audiences has fallen in love with the British sci-fi show. Doctor Who was a favourite of many viewers for decades, and it was great for those who grew up with the classic era to be able to enjoy new installments with their children. In celebration of the 20th anniversary of Doctor Who's modern era, many of us have been revisiting the Ninth Doctor's era. While some episodes from that time have been considered the greatest Doctor Who stories of all time, one glaringly obvious thing about Season 1 was that the show made a huge mistake in losing Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston's Doctor Who exit is still frustrating 20 years later. Behind-the-scenes drama resulted in audiences losing the Ninth Doctor. The Ninth Doctor regenerating into the 10th in the Doctor Who episode, The Parting of the Ways. While some actors chose to stay in Doctor Who for a certain amount of time for a reason, the context of Christopher Eccleston's exit from the show was a little different. In the initial press statement announcing his departure, the BBC claimed it was related to Eccleston wanting to avoid being typecast in roles in the future. However, Eccleston's comments over the years on Doctor Who and Russell T Davies have suggested otherwise. Reports claim that at the time of filming Season 1, Eccleston was overworked and exhausted, via the Daily Telegraph. The actor later stated that the atmosphere behind the scenes wasn't a good environment to work in and even mentioned claims of bullying towards crew members, via Radio Times. Even recently, Eccleston has made vague remarks. While attending the For the Love of Sci-Fi convention alongside Billie Piper in December 2023, Eccleston said that Davies should be sacked. While Doctor Who's Ninth Doctor Christopher Eccleston has never gone into huge detail about the ins and outs of what happened, it's clear that his relationship with the show is strained. The Ninth Doctor is the biggest what-if in Doctor Who's history. Viewers would have loved to see more of Christopher Eccleston's Ninth Doctor. After the last of the 3 Doctor Who movies was released in 1996, Paul McGann's Eighth Doctor was the most notable enigma of the franchise. However, when Eccleston left the show after only 1 season, he took over from his predecessor as Doctor Who's biggest what-if. Because we only got 13 episodes with the Ninth Doctor, there's a big question mark over his head in regard to how his legacy would have looked if he'd stayed. In those 13 episodes, the Ninth Doctor established himself as both a dark and comical figure, and he was a unique kind of Doctor compared to past iterations. The Ninth Doctor was the first incarnation to be introduced after Doctor Who's Time War, and it was a fantastic way to set up the show for a new generation of audiences. While Doctor Who Season 1 had its faults, it's still held in pretty high regard, and Eccleston's portrayal of the Ninth Doctor played a big part in it. Eccleston was undoubtedly incredible as the Ninth Doctor, but as he only appeared in 13 episodes, it's hard to explicitly say whether it would have stayed that way. Some truly brilliant actors start off in shows on a high note, but there's later a decline in quality, which can be for all manner of reasons other than their actual performance. What Doctor Who could have looked like if Eccleston didn't leave? Doctor Who knows what the fate of the Ninth Doctor could have been. Rose, the Ninth Doctor, and Jack looking scared as they're surrounded by gas mask zombies in the Doctor Who episode, The Empty Child. If his portrayal of the Doctor had been as strong as it was in Season 1, there's a good chance Eccleston's run as the Time Lord could have spanned several years. However, hypothetically, if the Ninth Doctor's later stories were the same as the 10th's, the execution could have been very different. It's possible the Ninth Doctor's approach to episodes like The Girl in the Fireplace or Doomsday wouldn't make the stories as appealing. Every incarnation of the Doctor in Doctor Who has their own respective personalities and quirks, and it's not uncommon to hear audiences say that certain episodes would have been a better fit for another version of the titular character. However, if Eccleston hadn't left Doctor Who when he did, we wouldn't have David Tennant's 10th Doctor, or the Meta Crisis, or the 14th, either. Viewers might not have seen the Scottish actor become a superstar for his portrayal of the Time Lord at all, and it's weird to think how different Tennant's career could have been. Tennant still could have been cast as the Doctor, but perhaps not the 10th, and it could have been years, maybe even decades, later. The version of Tennant's 10th Doctor that we know and love could have been a completely different character, and the romance between him and Rose probably would have changed slightly, too. Will Christopher Eccleston ever return to Doctor Who? Eccleston's comments have changed frequently. Christopher Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor looking concerned as he goes to leave the Big Brother house in the Doctor Who episode, Bad Wolf. Anyone who has watched Eccleston as the Ninth Doctor, either when his season was airing or nowadays, is curious about whether he'll ever return to the show. His response to the matter has changed over the years, and for a long time, he was pretty adamant he wouldn't come back. Eccleston hasn't completely turned his back on the show, though, as he frequently lends his voice to Doctor Who's Big Finish audio dramas. However, in recent years, his comments about returning to Doctor Who have been a bit more positive, and the actor hasn't shut down the possibility as definitively as he used to. Eccleston has previously stated that he has no interest in taking part in a multi-Doctor story, and that if Doctor Who wanted him back, they'd need to get him on his own, via Doctor Who TV. However, in this same interview, he also revealed that he saw the script of the 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor. The actor said he thought it was better after he'd said no to coming back for it. Eccleston's main issue with these types of episodes is that he doesn't find them particularly creative, and so while it seems very unlikely he'll return to Doctor Who alongside another incarnation of the Doctor, perhaps a particularly strong story will swing him, despite the heavily rumoured feud between Eccleston and Davies. Perhaps Billie Piper's sudden appearance in Doctor Who's Season 15 finale could potentially see the Ninth Doctor return to screens. Eccleston has voiced his desire for Piper to be the Doctor before, so maybe he'll consider coming back to Doctor Who for a multi-Doctor story, purely so he can appear opposite his old co-star.